10 p.m. in Banjul, and this is the news for the headlines. Farming communities in Central and Upper River regions benefit from another massive presidential generosity in the form of a donation of over 4,000 bags of fertilizers. This is meant to boost the country's food self-sufficiency drive. The road to Kigali is over for Bono and his local-based team after the Gambian side lost the Mini-Senegambia Derby at the Independence Stadium. A coalition of Syrian rebels dislodges government forces in strategic positions in the heavily contested city of Aleppo. And from the glare of TV cameras to a serious U.S. presidential contender, Donald Trump's career takes on a totally different trajectory, but not without the odd gaffe. These and other stories coming ahead this half hour. I am your presenter, FATOUMATA NDURE JOBE. The President, His Excellency, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh Babili Mansa, has received goodwill greetings from Wanseni Kinte of Farafene, Upper Badibu District, and the message reads, I am delighted to write to Your Excellency to congratulate you on your 50th birthday celebration. Your Excellency, again all praise be to Allah the Almighty and the All-Knowing for yet another birthday celebration of Your Excellency. Sir, your birthday falls on the 25th of May 2015, which is memorable and very significant, since the day coincides with Africa Liberation Day. Your Excellency, happy birthday to you, and may Allah the Almighty and the All-Knowing continue to shower His infinite blessings on you. Once again, happy birthday to you, and may you live long to witness and celebrate many more in the future. Amen. A total of 4,444 bags of fertilizer have been handed over to the farming communities of Central and Upper River regions by the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service and Minister responsible for Presidential Affairs, Honorable Lamin Nyambali, on behalf of the Gambian leader. These massive interventions come barely a week after the Gambian leader made a similar gesture to the people of North Bank region. Babakar Kamara has more on those presentations held in the Central and Upper River regions.
It is the annual Ramadan gift of President Jammeh usually presented in sugar consignment to the Muslim community. And this year that approach is seemingly complemented with the donation of a fertilizer consignment, intensifying his call for food self-sufficiency. That message was delivered by Secretary General Nyambali to the people of both Central and Upper River regions on behalf of the Gambian leader.
It was started with the North Bank region. You recall at the State House ground, the same quantity was given to the North Bank region. From North Bank, he asked us to come and deliver same to URR and CRR. And we are here to deliver this assistance to CRR as well as URR.
His response has been spontaneous to the needs of Gambians, which was highlighted by both governors of Central and Upper River region, Alhaji Omar Khan and Omar Sompo Sise respectively, as they received the fertilizer consignment. Praises of the Gambian leaders' benevolence came from chiefs of the respective regions. And as for the women and youth representatives, the moment was that of gratitude and relief, considering their appeals earlier made to President Jammeh to reconsider the high market cost of fertilizer at the time.
When we were on our tour, so many farmers, particularly women, did tell the president that the cost of fertilizer for some was expensive. You recall one of the speakers in the Washington meeting did say so. And His Excellency, giving his benevolence and consideration for Gambians and humanity at large, did reduce the price of fertilizer from $1,200 to $750 per bag, both for urea and NPK.
With 2,222 bags of fertilizer freely supplied to the farming community of both Central and Upper River regions, that support base of food self-sufficiency has been again reaffirmed by the Gambian leader, and communities are sternly warned not to sell the agro-ingredient for any reason than expanding their farms for better yield.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Sir Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, in pursuance to his ambition, to his objective in ensuring that Gambia attained food self-sufficiency by 2016, has in the past and continued to provide support to farming communities.
Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
The Office of the President wishes to inform the general public that the President's annual distribution of Ramadan sugar will take place on Monday, 6 July at 2 p.m. Regional governors and mayors are urged to report to State House on Monday at 2 p.m. prompt, as well as work on means of transporting their region share of the gifts. Meanwhile, the Association of the Non-Governmental Organizations, in partnership with relevant stakeholders, on Wednesday launched Tango's Health Watch. And as Buba SMCC reports, the Health Watch is expected to generate the required evidence for the works of Tango, which include policy dialogue with government and health development partners.
The Association of the Non-Governmental Organization, Tango, is partnering with Public Health Research and Development Center, popularly called SEAM, Health Promotion and Development Organization, and as well Nova Scotia Gambia Association, NSGA, to implement a project entitled Increasing Tango's Capabilities and Engagements in National Health Policy Negotiations, Monitoring Effectiveness of Development Aid, and Advocacy for Accountability, through funding from Oxfam Health Policy Action Fund.
This is a very significant project. Since we have the media invited here as well, I would urge members of the media to engage with Tango and the partners in this project, and as a way also to engage in the wider national health strategy to ensure that it's going according to its plans.
The executive director at Tango, Usman Yabo, says Health Watch entails a lot for the improvement of livelihoods of people.
Tango's Health Watch goes beyond just observatory, but includes capacity development, especially at community level, for better household health, seeking behaviors, and support to health resource mobilization. As you may be aware, the government of Gambia, through the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, has developed a strategic plan 2015 to 2020, and with support of the World Health Organization country efforts are in high gears to complete the Gambia IHP Plus country compact.
The Public Health Research and Development Center's executive director highlights the work plan for the project. Mamadou Cham asserts that the project is expected to generate periodic reports to address quality health.
The effort would be to generate periodic reports which Tango can interact with partners and see some of the Gambia or communities in the Gambia or populations in the Gambia that needs to have additional attention. So all of us in the Gambia, not only Gambians, can enjoy the quality of health we aspire for all.
Tango's Health Watch is expected to advocate for the security and protection of rights to the basic health care package for especially the most vulnerable communities and population groups in the country. Buba SMCC, GRTS.
The Rotary Club of Fajara, a charitable foundation operating in the country, has elected a new female president. FATOUMATA is all set to administer the affairs of her fellow Rotarians. Isa Decatur tells us more on that.
Act of Parliament in 2000, the National Youth Council, which is responsible for the coordination of youth policies and programs, has organized another mid-term review. The Council's program manager noted that this is the third such forum organized by the youth body, and one he said will create valuable development outlets for young people.
We've received funding from the government of the Gambia, UNESCO, and of course UNFPA to do the review of the youth policy. We sent in a call for applicants on the newspapers, and we had so many consultants that applied. But fortunately, the contract has been given to one Keba Masanya to do the midterm review of the youth policy. As a council, To make sure all stakeholders are involved, we thought it wise to form 2 working groups. One, we form a youth working group, where we have all the registered youth groups of the council part of. We also have a technical working group. All ministries, departments that have a stake in youth work, that have a stake in the development of young people in this country, are part and parcel of the technical working group. We don't want to have a youth policy housed at the National Youth Council and the property of the National Youth Council.
To ensure proper networking and improve youth participation in the midterm review process, Council is looking at innovative measures to engage in this important development.
We have literature review, which is going to, the consultant is going to do to review all critical and relevant documents related to young people's development in this country. The consultant is going to do that literature review. Also, there will be a regional consultation. We have young people in all the regions, and they were beneficiaries, and they were also actors in some point in the implementation. So they will also be there, be interviewed in the focus group discussions to assess the level of implementation, what are the gaps and what are the challenges, and what will be the way forward in the regional consultations. This is going to happen come next week onwards.
Given its activities, such as the organization and coordination of youth programs and guidelines for the orientation and harmonization of issues, this crucial forum is expected to help in the important mission of tackling youth development issues. Modu Bajan, GRTS.
We will be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Welcome back. Syrian government troops have suffered a significant setback in recent fightings with a rebel coalition. Rebel forces led by Islamist group Al-Nusra Front said they have won control of a key regime position west of Aleppo. That is part of an assault undertaking to take full control of the entire area. Aleppo, a key strategic outpost in north of the country, close to the border with NATO member country Turkey, fighting between rebels and government forces erupted there 3 years ago, with the rebels holding most of the eastern half of the city and government troops most of the western half. We have details in this DW TV report.
Aleppo under siege. This video, posted on a social media website late Friday, purportedly shows Syrian rebels battling government troops for control of the city. The rebels say their efforts were rewarded. They claim to have taken over a scientific research centre in western Aleppo, an area that was previously in government hands. God willing, we'll keep fighting until we liberate all of Syria. If the rebels take the whole city, Assad's troops will have been driven out of the north. They then control just the area between Damascus and the sea. The Turkish border is only 50 kilometers from Aleppo, a growing concern for Ankara. We have taken precautions to protect our border. When something happens close to it that could threaten Turkish security, we act. Fighting is also intensifying between government troops and rebels in the southwestern city of Zabadani. The Syrian army has launched a major assault there, supported by Shiite Hezbollah fighters from Lebanon. Zabadani is one of the rebels' last strongholds near the Lebanese border.
In just 2 weeks, Donald Trump has gone from brash real estate mogul and TV personality to a top U.S. presidential contender. But fellow GOP candidates say he has ruffle and feathers. We have details in this report by CNN's Joe John.
Former New York Governor George Pataki today launched an online petition urging Americans to stand up to Trump after calling on his GOP rivals to denounce the former reality TV star.
On these comments about Mexicans that are so divisive, he's flat out wrong.
On Twitter, Trump firing back at Pataki, calling Pataki a terrible governor of New York who couldn't be elected dog catcher if he ran again. A change of heart from when Pataki was governor and Trump donated to his campaign. But companies doing business with Trump appeared to agree with the former New York governor. cutting ties with the real estate mogul over the controversial comments made at his campaign announcement.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Macy's saying they will no longer sell Trump clothing. NBC Universal and Univision backing out of carrying the Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, partly owned by Trump.
What NBC and Univision did to these young women was disgraceful. They never had them in mind.
But even the chief executive of Reels, the network that picked up the pageant, dismissed the Donalds' remarks.
I agree with everything that NBC and Univision and Macy's are saying. I think those comments are ridiculous.
Former pageant contestants also rejecting Trump's rhetoric.
I think that it's extremely dangerous to generalize a population and attribute such hateful comments to them.
But Trump remains steadfast in his position, telling CNN's Don Lemon that his statement was backed up by a 2014 Fusion report about Central American women being raped while traveling to the border.
All you have to do is go to Fusion and pick up the stories on rape.
That's about women being raped. It's not about criminals coming across the border or entering the country.
Well, somebody's doing the raping, Don.
Amid the controversy, Trump has surged in the polls, now up to second place nationally and in the early voting states of Iowa and New Hampshire.
British authorities believe a family of 12 may be the latest to try to link with ISIS in Syria. The CNN report explains how the family left home in April for holidays and simply never returned.
Friends say this family was living a simple life in Luton, England. All 12 may now be in ISIS-controlled areas of Syria, including the head of the family, 75-year-old Mohammed Abdul Manan, his terminally ill wife, and grandchildren as young as a year old.
The family lived on this quiet street outside of London. This is the family home where they based a successful electric and plumbing business. Friends tell me this is an ordinary family. They're baffled as to how and why this could have happened.
Friends say it all began with a family vacation to see relatives in Bangladesh. On April 10th, police say one of the members of the party was stopped and questioned at the airport. Their house was also searched. Police say they found nothing to suggest they were planning to go to Syria. The family was allowed to continue their trip. On May 11th, the family flew through Istanbul. Friends say they were going to stop and sightsee for a few days, but they never boarded the plane back to England.
I understand that a female member of the family were radicalized, and she is the one who has influenced few other members of the family, and for surely the children and the elderly parents, they have got no idea what was about to happen to them.
Community leader Ashok Ahmed says the remaining family believes at least one of the women may have had links to an extremist group in Luton.
And it's only about no more than 10 or 12 of those members, but they are quite vocal, they're quite active, and you see them out on the street distributing leaflets, flyers with the messages. And I understand that the girl who also somehow had linked to that group.
Ahmed says it's the very same group that has been linked to Abu Aziz. He is also from Luton, now in ISIS territory, fighting for the group. Before Twitter shut down his account, he would post inflammatory pictures and messages. Here, Aziz calls for ISIS to behead the British Home Secretary. In another, he talks about burning his British passport. It's in stark contrast to what we believe to be the tweets of 19-year-old Mohammed Tawfiq Hussein, one of the 12 now thought to be in Syria. He tweets about cartoons, rap music, and jokes, nothing to suggest extremism. His friends say he's just a teenager.
He was a chilled, relaxed guy, just like me. We played football, you know, we went to school, we had a laugh. This whole thing, I'm just like, it blew me away because I spoke to some of my friends. We were like, what's going on? He's just ghosted.
Just how all 12 ghosted is a mystery. The remaining family has released a statement saying their disappearance is completely out of character. They are worried they may be in danger. Erin McLaughlin, CNN, Luton, England.
We take our second break now. A look at sports when we return. Welcome back. It is the end of the road for the Gambia local base side after the team failed in its attempt to overturn a 3-1 deficit against close-door neighbor Senegal. Peter Bonner Johnson's side conceded an early goal which all but extinguished any hopes of a remarkable comeback. To deny the Teranga Lions of a place in the 2016 CHAN Championship in Rwanda. Momodu S. Jallo watched the action and he gives us a quick update.
Well, it is all over and it ended in a defeat for the home base Scorpions. Bonu Johnson's Charges lost 1-0 at home to the Teranga Lions in the return leg here at the Independence Stadium earlier this evening. Bonu made several changes to the side that lost 3-1 in the first leg by bringing in a lot of other new players, but it didn't help him from going down. The Senegalese took the lead in the 7th minute through midfielder Mamadou Waliou Ndoye, who headed home the winner to give Senegal a 4-0 aggregate score on both legs, and the Senegalese now progress to the next stage of the competition. And for the Gambia, they crashed out, and this means a lot for the home base Scorpions, who would now be out of international actions for at least 3 years, unless for the players who might be lucky to make into the senior squad, or other players who are playing with the likes of Walidan or Gamtel, who will be playing Champions League football and of course Confederations Cup football in CAF competitions. But that's where the road ends for the home base Scorpions in their quest to qualify for Rwanda 2016. We now go back to the drawing board and try to see what went wrong and correct this whole issue and move on. Modest Jallo, GRTS Sports at the Independence.
From sports, we join the Weather Center for the day's weather report.
That simple promise of a harvest after planting is nature's service to the community that you and I are a part of. We carry on bonding and sharing because the feeling to serve is mutual. But that promise between us, the sun and the land, is what gives us the hope to carry on. And as it was in the beginning, we started with a belief to serve. Elton, a new vision of service.
Hello from the Central Forecast Office. We now begin the weather update, but first we will take a look at the day's outlook, where we've experienced partly cloudy and warm conditions across the entire country during the day. Over now to the satellite image, where we can see convective clouds over central and the eastern parts of Africa. Now tonight we're expecting partly cloudy, warm and humid conditions, and for tomorrow we're expecting variably cloudy, warm and humid conditions, especially over central and parts of the inland of the country. Now during this period we'll experience westerly winds, and this will go up to southwesterly winds, and they'll be running at a speed of 5 to 15 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be 24 degrees Celsius over Greater Banjul, 25 over West Coast and the North Bank. And for the afternoon temperatures, we can see 33 degrees Celsius over Greater Banjul, 35 over West Coast, and this will go up to 36 degrees Celsius over North Bank. And still on minimum temperatures, we can see 25 degrees Celsius over Lower River, 26 over Central and the Upper River regions respectively. And this will go up to a maximum of 36 degrees Celsius over Lower River, 37 over Central and the Upper River regions respectively. Now at 5 a.m. we'll have a low tide of 1.2 meter, and at 6 p.m. at midday we'll have a high tide of 1.9 meter. Wave height will go up to about 0 to 1 meter high, westerly source. The sun will rise at 6:39 and sets at 19:39. Thank you for joining us and good night.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. Farming communities in Central and Upper River regions have benefited from another massive presidential generosity in the form of a donation of over 4,000 bags of fertilizer, which is meant to boost the country's food self-sufficiency drive. The road to Kigali is over for Bono and his local-based team after the Gambian side lost the Mini-Senegambia Derby at the Independence Stadium. A coalition of Syrian rebels has dislodged government forces in strategic positions in the heavily contested city of Aleppo. And from the glare of TV cameras to a serious U.S. presidential contender, Donald Trump's career is taking on a totally different trajectory, but not without the odd gaffe. That was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us. I am your presenter, FATOUMATA, NDURE, JOBE.